Good night. It is February 10, 2025, and it's a Monday, and it's my birthday. Here in Sheboygan, it's currently negative 19 degrees Celsius. It is cold as hell. It's negative 3 degrees Fahrenheit, although there's a real feel registered trademark of negative 15 degrees Celsius, 6 degrees Fahrenheit. It does feel a bit warmer. Earlier today was windy. I was going to work, and as I often do these days, now that we're balls deep into winter, especially when it's windy outside, when it's sunny and windy, it's like this little universe was just like clawing at me and just telling me, just go back, don't be outside. My friend who I was working with today at a theater managed to drove by and give me a ride. I had the same look. That was pretty nice, but yeah, it was just windy. I was just lamenting that fact in my mind, and I just see his car, very distinct car, pull up, and I knew it was him. Although he was bummed out because the team he was rooting for lost the Super Bowl yesterday. The sun this morning rose at 6:57 a.m. It set at 5:07 p.m. At 10 hours and 10 minutes of sunlight, that is more than 10 hours, we finally passed the point where I'm really starting to internalize it. The days are getting longer. Today's my birthday, and I'm 35 years old. And this isn't what I would have expected or would feel like at 35, or what my life would be like. And that's why, instead of going into a bunch of details, I'm just going to talk about a song. And the song is The New Albion Chorale / The Discovery? The Discovery, by Terry Riley from 1986. I had heard this album before at some point, but I didn't really remember anything about it, except that it was just intonation, just in tone. Can you say just in tone? But like, just it's solo piano music tuned into a microtonal just intonation. Tuning by Terry Riley, and I guess I didn't really connect with it when I'd heard it in the past, but it stuck with me. The name, especially, the Harp of New Albion, is the name of the album. And I'm a fan of Terry Riley, and so the whole album is good. It's very good, but this one piece, for some reason, really encapsulates how I feel today. I was walking back from the dep earlier. I was like, and listening to that song, listened to it a few times over the past couple of days. I don't even remember why this popped into my head. I think I was thinking about Charlemagne Palestine for some reason. And then I started to think about Terry Riley. But this piece is so beautiful. And yeah, so one thing that's cool about this tuning that he did of his piano, I can tell you right here, I brought it up. So, also, instead of being based on middle C, as a 12-tone equal temperament is, it's based on middle C sharp. And it's got these intervals that I don't understand. I don't know anything about music theory, or very little about music theory, or why. What it actually means as far as the actual frequency, and what these ratios actually mean. But in any case, I just gotta get through this because I have some work I have to get done and some drinking to do, because I decided tonight, on my birthday, instead of going out and doing something, I was just gonna drink alone, which is sad and depressing. But a lot of my life has become sad and depressing, and it sort of sucks to admit. Um, what was my point? I gotta admit, I have started this video over a couple times because I really want to get this right to express how I feel about this music. But I also just don't want to do this weather report and also show the vulnerability of how I'm feeling today. Look, okay, so basically, one thing that I particularly like about this piece and this tuning system, and but not just that, but also the way that Terry Riley has chosen to structure this. Um, it's mainly improvised, but there are some like recurring motifs. So one particular melody, this phrase that comes back a couple times, right at the beginning and a couple times throughout. It's really beautiful. The thing is that like it starts off being mainly the notes that don't really have much dissonance, or like dissonance as we would perceive it within 12-tone equal temperament. It's like a little bit like off sometimes, but it's like it generally sounds similar enough to the relationships between notes that we're used to hearing. In 12-tone equal temperament, if you don't know, that's just like the tuning system that we use here in the West. Generally, I mean, there's been like more and more embracing of microtonality, which is really cool. Like a recent example that was really good was King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard did an album, maybe two. They did Flying Microtonal Banana, was all with microtonal stuff, but then I think they also had some other songs. Maybe not a whole other album, but I mean, they did the quarter note, which is like they just like would add an extra note between other notes. It's just like, you know, fairly easy to do on a guitar. You just like add a fret between two frets. It gets more complicated with other ratios between notes. But okay, so as the piece progresses, he does slowly bring in more of these dissonant notes. So it's really beautiful and pretty and melancholy, but also unexpected. Because it's not ugly. That's the thing, is like these different or dissonant notes are not, it's so beautiful, but it's unexpected. Because like, it's not like, it doesn't sound like a random note that's not in like a scale or a chord. It's like it's not supposed to be there. It's just different. And there's, that one phrase comes back. It's such a beautiful little phrase. But as the piece progresses, he adds more dissonant notes into it, so it becomes less and less familiar. But at the same time, it becomes more familiar because there's repetition, right? Like you hear this phrase again and you're getting used to it, but at the same time, it's becoming less familiar because it's adding these notes you've probably never heard before, right? These pitches you haven't heard before in a piano. And that's just how I feel like now in my life. It's like everything seems familiar and unfamiliar. And it's beautiful, but it's melancholy. And I feel like I know what I'm doing sometimes. Or like, actually no, most of the time I know what I'm like doing moment to moment, but like generally it still is sort of uncomfortable and scary and unfamiliar. And I just really relate to this piece of music. I've been listening to it. I've listened to it a few times since yesterday. But I just suggest listening to it for yourself and give it a chance. It's long. It's like 23 minutes long. But it's beautiful. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Later tonight, there's not much time left, but later tonight, it's going to go down to negative 20 degrees Celsius. Holy shit. Negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Um, along with this, I had this beautiful moment, beautiful but awkward moment at the dep. Not at the dep, to buy myself alcohol to drink alone. And I bought some fancier beer. And the clerk there, um, she's often there at night, and I never really had a conversation with her. She just always seems to just be exasperated and doesn't want to be there. But she's, nice. She's never been, rude or mean or anything. It just seems to just be tired. And so she said, "Oh, you changed your." I don't really know exactly how to translate it. Essentially, you changed your brand, the brand that you buy, because I'm an alcoholic, and so in the midst of a relapse, so I often just do the path of least resistance, which is go to this dep, which is next near where I live. It's a bit more expensive, and the selection is poor, but I just go there, and so I buy alcohol every day. And so she's used to seeing me. So I said, "Oh, yeah, well, it's my birthday." And so I decided to get something fancy. She says, "Oh, it's my father's birthday in 2 days." And then she started telling me stories about the different birthdays, some different birthdays. And, she was talking about yeah, so my birthday's on the 22nd of December. And she's like, "Yeah, my father's birthday's it's near Valentine's Day." I'm like, "Yeah." And then I said, but it's cool to have a birthday around this time of year because it's just far enough from Christmas and stuff. And she's like, "Well, my birthday's on the 22nd of December." I'm like, "Oh yeah, damn." I'm like, "Yeah, my friend's birthday is the 24th." And she's like, "Yeah, but my brother's birthday's then, and my sister's birthday's after." So I remember when I was a kid, you know, they get their presents in October and January. Then I just get Christmas presents. I'm like, "Oh, that sucks." And then at that point, I'm like, "All right, well, this was a peculiar conversation, but not an unpleasant conversation." But because I'm sort of walking out, and she just keeps going. She's like, "Yeah, and finally, my parents were like, what we'll do is we'll get you a bigger present on Christmas instead." And she's like, "Okay, but at the same time, I still get presents only once." And I'm also just I'm timid in life, especially in French. I feel like I'm not as quick, so I'm more timid. I didn't really know what to say, so I sort of want to get out of the situation. But I said, "Oh, well, cool, good night." No, I didn't just leave the conversation. It was polite and stuff. But in any case, it was a beautiful moment because this woman, I never really attempted to share anything with me. Because I shared something with her, that it was my birthday, she shared something that she wanted to share. She thought was important to share. So we had a connection in that moment. And I enjoyed it. And I'm glad that she shared with me. What does that mean? I don't know. Probably nothing. But it's nice to be reminded that it's important to share, I guess. I guess that's my point. I don't know. It just affected me for some reason. And I guess my point is that now she's not just the lady that seems sad and doesn't want to be at work. She's also the lady that had an injustice, and I believe it is an injustice, forced onto her when she was a child, because it is not fair that her brother and her sister got to open up presents twice a year, and she only got it once, Food for thought, I guess. I don't know. Make of it what you will. Everyone, have a great night.